Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. So today was a good day. You do have good days and you should celebrate every single one of them. There's a time where you're going to struggle and then eventually it gets easier, but you have to invest in yourself. A lot of us are going through all these thoughts in our head. Are they a narcissist? Are they just a hurt person? And, should I dedicate my life to showing them what true love is? That we see the pain in them and we want to fix things and we love them so much, but we're wasting our lives. And in the end, we're going to end up with nothing to show for it. If they are a narcissist, they're just going to either take it for granted, not appreciate it, not love us back. And because of who they are in that brain, they're still not going to feel it no matter what you do, no matter what you do. So don't waste your life trying to fix the unfixable. And it's something that has to come from within whatever person it is, whether they have a mental illness or if they're just kind of struggling with communication. It has to come from them to want to change. You cannot change somebody. And the more that you try, the more you're enabling them. And it's not appreciated when we try really hard. People who don't want to change will take advantage of that. So the no contact, if it's a person just struggling in life, they'll change. They'll see the losses that they have. They'll feel something. If it's a narcissist, they're not going to feel what they need to feel to change. If they do want to change, it's based on not wanting to lose supply. It's not to connect with their emotions. They just can't. They just can't. It's like counseling somebody to see the color purple when they're colorblind. No matter how much counseling they get, they're not going to see it. It's like counseling somebody who has nerve damage to feel something. It's like nerve damage of the brain. They don't feel. And I want you guys to kind of redirect your emotions. You got some strong emotions. Turn those emotions into passion. Passion for you. If you would give to yourself all that energy that you're giving to somebody who's not giving back, your life would take on so much more meaning, so many more experiences, and throughout these experiences, you gain knowledge, so you're more interesting. You gain friends. It's just a cycle of forward motion to where things fall into place. Objects in motion stay in motion. So you can either progress down that rabbit hole of this toxicity, or you can turn it the different direction, your direction. Because I've been there. I'll be 52 in about 2-3 weeks. I've never been married. I've always wanted to be married. I've had 3 guys bail on me. One, I'm kind of glad because it was just not right. But it was like a high school sweetheart. We kind of reconnected, thought about it, but it wasn't right. So I'm okay with that. But the other 2 were narcissistic, future faked, gave false facades, were so entitled, misleading, dismissive, not true to themselves, not true. You don't, like, one was just kind of quiet, so you didn't know what was really going on. There were some lies, there were some things that went along with it. It was more, it was lies, it was entitlement. It was kind of like the king of the castle type thing, and just hard to know what was going on, and lack of attention. And you couldn't talk about anything that didn't involve him. I couldn't even talk about my friends, like, hey, my friend did this today, because he didn't care. He didn't care. So I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. Sometimes it's a conversation starter. But the other one was very manipulative, and to invest in people who are going to manipulate us anyways, or who are going to be dismissive. We are these good people, and we're sitting here, can't you just see the good in me? Can't you just accept my love? Can't we just put it back together? They don't want to, or they can't. Like if we tore down my house piece by piece right now, pretend that's the relationship analogy, tear down my house. We have all the pieces. I don't know how to put it back together. Well, a narcissist doesn't know how to put a relationship back together, and they don't want to do the effort. I wouldn't want to put back together a house if for one thing I didn't know how to do it. For another thing, it's going to be a pain in the butt, a lot of time, a lot of effort. The narcissist won't do it. It's easier to do something else, and that's going to crumble too. It's only a matter of time. Don't focus so much on what the new supply is going through. You know exactly what's going to happen. Um, they're living the fantasy right now. It's a fantasy. It's not reality. And it's going to catch up to them because little lies start to eat at the new supply's relationship with them. It ate at your supply or your relationship with them. And it's kind of like, I had this one analogy. It's kind of silly, but it gets the point across. Let's say I was making a peach cobbler. Okay. And the narcissist is like, oh, I love cobbler. And so we're thinking, oh, well, I'm going to make a special cobbler for them and surprise them and, let them know how special they are. And so they come over and I'm like, well, why don't we just have some coffee and peach cobbler, skip dinner, we can binge on this. And they hate peach cobbler. So they get mad at us, and because they're hungry. And then they're saying that they don't want that. And we're thinking, you were saying how much you wanted it. And I spent all day doing this. And then you hear that I never asked you to do that. I would have been happier with dinner. And so you're like starting to question who you are. And then you're like, wait, he said he liked cobbler. Oh, he said cobbler. Maybe he didn't like apple cobbler. Maybe I misunderstood. And so now moving forward, like that was a half truth from them. They were trying to kiss our butts, trying to, acknowledge. Sometimes they try in a certain way to acknowledge or to say, I'm proud of you for cooking, whatever. But it's a half truth. They love to tell half truths. They would have just said, oh, looks like you're doing a good job. I don't particularly like peach cobbler, but if I did, that looks fantastic. So then, they don't like it. They're not telling a half truth to where you're like, was I wrong for not asking if it was peach cobbler, apple cobbler, raspberry, whatever's out there? We don't know how to communicate with them, and we don't want to ask every little thing when we're talking to them. You like trucks? Do you mean big trucks or semi trucks? Or do you mean garbage trucks? Or it starts to mess up a free-flowing conversation. So we're on edge. We're trying to think, like, does he mean this? Does he mean that? Or she? And that's where it all falls apart over peach cobbler. And that's kind of what it's true, because if they were upfront with us, if they just communicated the right way, if they didn't try to mislead or appease, the cycle doesn't start. But they continually add things like that to our relationship, to where you're like, wait a sec, looking back, that's what started the failure of our relationship. And then we're like, I wish I didn't cook that day. Like, if I didn't cook, we'd still be together. And we had this guilt. We were just doing our own little thing. If we were with a healthy person, hopefully we're whole enough too, where they're like, oh, you're making what? Peach cobbler. At least we're on the up and up with them. They're not cutting us down. You can see in their face they don't like peach cobbler. Doesn't mean they don't like you. And it's little things like that that go unnoticed. So is this narcissist going to change? Every little thing he says or she says is going to have to be more precise, because they're so used to half truths. They're so used to misleading things. And then when something like that happens, they're not going to be like, oh, no, I should have told you. I should have clarified. Or don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You tried. That was so sweet. I'm sorry. My fault. I didn't. Or like a toss up. And maybe they could see the effort we put in, and they'll put the effort in and say, I'll just order Chinese. There's healthy ways to handle things and toxic ways to handle it. They handle it in a toxic way. They make us feel like we're worthless, that we were stupid, that, we should have known better, or we should have clarified. But we're like, our brain was like, we were talking about peach cobbler, and you said you love cobbler. So where's this apple come in? So it's just a unmeeting of the minds. And that's what happens a lot in narcissistic relationships. It's not so much miscommunication. It's not so much, let me reword that. It's what doesn't, okay, the miscommunication has to be handled correctly. And the narcissist doesn't do it correctly. They use anger. They use blame shifting. They do it with a lack of empathy, because even if I said, that's my fault, I should have asked, I am so sorry. Like, I don't have any food in the house, but I really thought you would have liked that. I'm sorry. And instead of them saying, no, it's okay, it's all right, it's just food. They get angry. They get entitled. They cut you down to make you feel bad because they're hungry. And they don't offer other solutions. Like, I don't have any money, but maybe, I don't know, we can ask the neighbors, or they have the money, or, even just asking if there's anything else in my kitchen. Just good communication. So don't waste your life trying to fix something that's not gonna, that broken house. The narcissist moved on, and how stable, how loving and committed are they going to be? Are they really going to realize? They don't reflect like that. So for them to change, they're not changing. They might take up your opportunity to get back together because it's an opportunity. Maybe you're offering, which you shouldn't, but during our broken hearts, we're like, can we work it out? They're like, oh, okay. With no remorse, just kind of like, cool, to do anything. And that leads to the grandiosity too, of like, yeah, I am the shit. Like, I was just a jerk. All I had to do was give her the silent treatment and she's crawling back. So now that they're like, yeah, I'll remember that one for later. And they overstep boundaries, and they're so cold. Some of them are purposely manipulative. Others don't realize what they're doing. It's subconscious. I can't remember exactly what it was. I want to say it was 90% of our thoughts or our speech is like subconscious. It just kind of happens, we don't stop and think about everything. Just if oh, my favorite color is pink. Like, I wasn't like, my favorite color, what are all the colors? Can I answer like I mix these like sea green, or I just say, like, we just talk. And the narcissist is not going to change their pattern of speech. They're not going to correct things because it's too off the cuff. It's too ingrained in them to protect their ego. Like that peach cobbler thing. Why would they say I like cobbler? Because it's a way to like schmooze us, like, because they don't want us mad at them, or they don't know if we're going to react like the wrong way because they said I don't like it. They don't have enough self-confidence to say I don't like peach cobbler, because they're too afraid we're not going to like them because they don't like something like that. So they half-truth it, or they say they like it, which misleads us, which brings us down that rabbit hole, that snowball out of control, over just poor communication. And that poor communication is because they do not have empathy. It's missing in their brain. Their brain is broken. You know, there's times, you can fix certain, I don't know, holes in clothes. You have a little hole, you can kind of do it. But if it's too big, it's going to be so damaged or not fixable, depending on the fabric and all that stuff, what the tears are like. That's our relationship, all torn to shreds. And it breaks my heart what we all go through. When you have good intentions and somebody promised you the world. And just like, I was supposed to get married, and 3 weeks before the wedding, he wanted to postpone it. All I said, he's like, whatever, like, he was sweet how he did it. Which sometimes it can be that way. But who knows, maybe he didn't want me smashing his car windows. so we're like, no, he really still was sweet to me. No, he's probably protecting himself. So and I'm not violent like that, but who knows? You never know what happens. So he's probably protecting himself instead of caring about me. So sometimes it's perception. We don't know their intent. But he said anything, I feel like a jerk. And that's the kind of them telling on themselves. I know I'm a jerk. I know I shouldn't be doing this. So they realize who they are sometimes. But he said anything, I'll do anything. What can I do for you? I said, look, I have my final dress fitting. Just call and cancel. You can tell him whatever you want. He wouldn't even do that. I even told him, you can make up a story. I'll just call him later. And lies aren't good. Lies aren't good. But I was so caught up. And this is where they turn us into them in a sense. But I didn't want to make him uncomfortable to where he could have just said I couldn't be there. And that's kind of what the narcissist does too. So that's how they change us. I was trying to still bond with him in a sense, if you look at it in a deeper level, where it's like, okay, I'm going to let him do something for me. But I was also looking at what would make him comfortable, get the job done. But in the end, all this stuff, they still don't do it. And that was too much. When the level of anything, I feel so bad, anything. You're like, make a phone call and cancel an appointment. You don't even have to tell them anything. Or you can tell them, my car's not working. So in self-reflection, I had seen something on the narcissist is only happy when they turn somebody into a narcissist. And that's where we start getting so uncomfortable, where it's like, this is not who I am. I'm not a liar. I'm not this, I'm not that. How do I survive in this? And it changes us. It damages our brain too, to where our brain starts kind of going a little haywire, and we got to try to calm it. We're balancing toxic situations, which we could handle better if we get out of them. Those type of situations wouldn't even happen. And I want you to listen to this. That would not have happened. That would not have had me try to coddle him so he could do that favor for me that he offered. Because if it was a healthy person who said, let's postpone it, for whatever reason, he never gave me a reason, but he could have said, okay, babe, I will do that for you. And he could have handled it. But we're making life too easy for them. Even giving them reasons or they never feel like they're going to lose us. The only time they care about us is when they're about to lose us. And so once you get back together with them, and that's what you're thinking, you might have a short period of time. It's going to fall apart. And they often, if they talk about, I don't know, let's say they went on a fishing trip with a bunch of buddies. A lot of times they'll say, I caught a fish, and I really, I don't know. I I help with a picnic instead of we. They don't use we. We went fishing. We had a great time. And it's not always about lovers. It can be, oh, I went fishing. We had a great time. They'll say I, because everything is centered around them. And they do that in romantic relationships too. So that's a little window into their mind when they say I. Because they don't see the people around them, even their friends. And it's just like a little peek under that mask to show who they are. Words mean so much, and body language means so much. Look how they stand around other people. Are they, dirty looks? You can't fix a broken person. You might be able to guide them, but you can't guide them if they're not willing. So don't waste your life. You have a beautiful life ahead of you. There's still time. And a relationship isn't what makes somebody. You're what make you. So don't let yourself down. Give yourself a big hug. Get some sleep tonight. And really try and get out at least once a day. Go for a walk. Go meet somebody. Just a simple hello. When you're ready, it's even okay to tell some of your friends, do you have somebody I could kind of hang out with? It can be platonic. I just need to start getting out there, doing new things, and get that snowball rolling, because it's going to lead to a great life.